All right, what is going on, my friend? It has been a while. I have been traveling and I've been tired for lack of a better excuse. But we're back. And this is going to be an interesting episode because I'm going to share with you what Podcast Nirvana looks like and feels like and sounds like. And to kind of, you're probably wondering what the hell is Podcast Nirvana. And the reason why I created this term essentially is because a lot of people jump into podcasts, and they have goals and they have these things they want to accomplish, but they're not really moving towards anything concrete or specific. Like there's no journey or pathway. So for our clients, for people who listen to us, for people who consume our content, we wanted to make a better roadmap of like, hey, where we're moving to. Because for me, in my eyes, a podcast should create 4 specific things, maybe even more, but 4 specific things I'm going to talk about here today. And by the end of this, you're going to know where you're going to want to move to in your podcast. Like, what are the things you're trying to accomplish, and what does an ideal situation look like for you? So I think for me, if I look back to my bodybuilding days and look back to my fitness days, the best results I was able to create as a competitor were when I had a very stupid, clear idea of where I was moving, like what I was doing this for, what did success look like and feel like, what did it taste like, which is a lot of times like bland food. But that was when I was able to create the best results. And I think the same thing applies in business, and the same thing applies in podcasting, where if you can create a very clear vision, i.e. Podcast Nirvana, of where you're moving to, it's going to be much easier to accomplish that. So, first of all, I got to give credit where credit is due. If you guys know of Sam Oven created an ad. I forget where I saw. I'm pretty sure it was an ad, but it was basically called Consulting Nirvana, which is like, this is where you want to move to as a consultant. And likewise, thanks Sam Ovens for this idea. We created Podcast Nirvana, which is where you want to move to in your podcast. So let's just jump into it. And again, these are end results, guys. This is end goals. So this is where you want to be in 6, 12, 18 months when you launch your show. So the first one, I'm going to try and get as tangible as possible with these, but let it be known that like your idea of success can look different from that, and that's totally okay. But I'm going to share with you what in my eyes, what Podcast Nirvana looks like. Number one, the first thing it gives you, or first thing a podcast should give you, is essentially expert authority positioning, and that is meaning like you are the top dog in the space. If there's 10 podcasts talking about fitness coaching specifically for guys who want to build muscle, you want to be the best. You want to have the most downloads. You want to have the most reviews. You want to have the best audience, the most engaged audience. Like that's expert authority positioning. And this takes time to build up, don't get me wrong, but there's a lot of things you can do in the launching of your podcast. There's a lot of things you can do in the pre-marketing. There's a lot of things you can do in the follow-up with your guests. There's a lot of controllable things you can do to build that expert authority positioning. For me, Podcast Nirvana, one piece of this, the first piece is that your podcast, or you have a podcast that gives you expert authority positioning, meaning you are the top dog in the space when it comes to other shows that are talking about your topic or your content. When people say, hey, what's a good podcast to listen to on podcasting and how to grow one? I want you guys to say, oh, Lewis from Podcast Domination Show. Like he's probably got the best, or if not one of the best shows out there when it comes to how to grow a podcast. Hey, Lewis here again. And if you haven't launched a podcast yet, then I want you to listen up really closely because I'm about to give away the freaking farm. For Black Friday, we're putting together something special, as a special live training to share what we've learned from launching over 55 podcasts and generating over 6 million downloads and hundreds of thousands of dollars for our clients, especially for clients who have high ticket coaching businesses or consulting or done-for-you services. This is the meat and potatoes of what we've used to help get those clients to the top of iTunes, to the top of Spotify, to all of these platforms, and help them drive tons and tons of sales. Now, normally it would cost a minimum of $5,000 and north of $5,000 now to get help from us implementing these strategies. But for Black Friday, I want to do something fun. I also want to do something interactive where I can talk to a lot of people. So this is going to be a live training. We're actually going to be teaching you the exact strategies we've used to help get those clients to the top of Apple Podcasts and also close high ticket clients with their podcast. So both of these things are going to be covered in this masterclass training. So if you want to get the training, then I want you to go to the show notes of this episode and click on the masterclass link. My team will make sure it is very easy to find. It is probably going to be in all caps. It's going to say masterclass link. And if you're listening to this right now, in 2020, November of 2020, then you're going to be able to jump onto the live training with me where you'll be able to ask me questions. And also you'll get access to the recording, the scripts, the funnels, the plug and play email templates, everything we use to launch these clients every single time. And if you're listening to this in the future, somewhere after November of 2020, then the link to purchase the masterclass is going to be there as well. It's going to be the recording, and then it's also going to have everything I just mentioned, the scripts, the funnels, the templates, everything. Okay. Oh, and one last thing. There is zero risk to you at all if you attend this masterclass and it is not 100% awesome for you, then I am more than happy to give you a 100% refund. All right. So there you have it. I hope you at least go and check out the landing page to see some of the results and testimonials from other business owners, to see their results, and just to know that I'm not blowing smoke. Okay. I know there's a lot of people in this space. I'm not blind to that. So, again, hope you would join and attend the Profit Ready Podcast Launch Masterclass. Hope to see your face on the call, and looking forward to helping you get results with your podcasts. Now, back to the episode. The next one is what I hear a lot of people want, but only a few of them get it, and that is creating multiple revenue streams with your podcast. And I don't talk about this as much as many people would like me to talk about, probably, because it's very, for me, it depends on the business model. Meaning your business model will a lot of times dictate, for more or less, what your revenue model is going to look like for your podcast. Meaning if you have a coaching business, then your biggest, most profitable way to monetize is not going to be sponsorships. It's going to be probably selling your coaching. If you're a speaker, then the podcast is going to be, if you can book a speaking gig, then that's going to be their highest revenue activity or highest revenue opportunity for you, right? So, it depends on the business model. But number two, Podcast Nirvana, you've got a podcast that creates expert authority, and then you've also got a show that generates or helps you generate multiple streams or create multiple streams of income. Meaning this could be, you can use it to drive leads. You can use it to build partnerships with other companies. You could use it for speaking engagements. And then of course you can use it for sponsorship. And of course, like we we're saying, the first part, getting leads, you can use it to acquire clients. So multiple revenue streams is what we want out of our podcast. That is a healthy looking show. It also gives you the funds to reinvest into the growth of the show, and it gives you funds to reinvest into yourself and reinvest into your audience, of course, as well. So that's the first two. Expert authority positioning, no brainer, right? We all want to have a podcast at the top in their space. And then number two is revenue streams, multiple ones. So if you're a personal brand, then this is like, for most of you, it's going to look like coaching. It's going to look like consulting. It's going to look like getting speaking engagements, getting in front of new audiences to pull in more leads. That's what that looks like. The third one is more of a systems. It's not so sexy. It's more of the back end systems. And I say put this one in here because I think if you can create a podcast that, for me, this show takes, I don't know, it takes maybe 1 day out of my entire month to create all the content for like maybe a month and a half. So it doesn't take me that much time, but you want a podcast that's going to help you, or it's going to take only about an hour to 2 hours max per week of your schedule. And it's ideally going to be the things that you love doing. For most of you, this is going to be creating content or talking to guests. But it's needs to be a systematized process that takes you out of the annoying work that you don't like to do, or the work that is not the best use of your time, and lets you focus on the stuff that really moves the needle. Okay, so that's the systems part of it. That's the non-sexy part where you've got to figure out who's the driver of your show, who is going to take the reins, and who is making sure that everything's running on time. Okay. That's the third thing, having a system for that. So it only takes you 1 to 2 hours per week. Super important so that you love what you're doing and not hating it. And the last one, at least for now, until I add more to this list, is that you want a podcast that is going to generate tangible results for the clients that you serve and listeners that you serve, right? So for me, I want this podcast to generate results for you guys. When you guys use the tools that we recommend here, or the scripts, or you take advantage of the Facebook group, or you tweak some things in your show and you land some new clients or generate some new revenue. That's for me. That's what makes me happy. Like, that's part of Podcast Nirvana. You want to create a show that serves others, not a self-serving podcast. It's okay to have revenue goals and want to be the best in your position, but the content you're putting out should be front-facing, serving clients and people who listen, right? So much that you're getting thank you emails. Like, that's when you know you've done it right, when you're getting thank you emails and DMs and people are taking time out of their day to reach out to you. So that is Podcast Nirvana. That's what it looks like. And, kind of selfishly, I put this podcast episode together because I wanted to share not only with you guys who listen, but also our clients, our students, and everyone else who we work with, what that looks like. It's really important that you understand where you're working towards. So if that's something you want help with, these are 4 things you're like, yeah, I really want to have a podcast like this, then I invite you to reach out to us over at podcastdomination.co, because this is where we're spending a more and more of our time, and honestly, it'll be 100% of our time soon, to dedicating the programs, everything we're putting out to helping people achieve these 4 goals: export authority positioning in their space, multiple revenue streams, a systematized show that is very, very lightweight and not hard on you, and then also obviously generating tangible results for the people that you serve. So that is it. Again, if you want to chat about this and how we can help you get there, go to podcastdomination.co and hit work with us, and you can book a call there. That's probably the best way if you're not already in our Facebook group. So I'll leave it to you, and enjoy your day. And I hope you remember where you're going with podcasting, and remember to think of Podcast Nirvana when you when you think of that as well. And if I could, I'd definitely get the Nirvana music or something to remind you, but it's probably illegal. So we'll leave it at that. I'll catch you later.